Hey guys, welcome back for our last vlog.
We're going to be covering the last 3 chapters of the book, so chapters 11, 12, and 13, and let's get started.
Chapter 11, the context of our character, part 1.
So this chapter is all about how willing we are to cheat depending on how easily we'll get caught. So the example that they used was a test about just like common knowledge. There were 20 questions and you had 15 minutes to answer it or something like that. And they split it up into 3 different groups. The first group did not have the ability to cheat. The second group had to transfer their answers to a sheet with the right answers on it. So they had a simple way to cheat. And then the third group could do the same thing as the second group and then shred the original answers so they wouldn't know if they cheated at all. And people, as expected, didn't cheat, would cheat a little bit, and then cheated even more in the third group because they knew they couldn't get caught. So the less likely you are to get caught, the more incentive there is to cheat. And this changed when they did it again, and they incentivized it by giving 10 cents for every answer you got right. And then the third group this time could also take their own money out of the pot instead of like having the proctor, give them the money for the right answers. And the third group didn't take the money to the fullest extent that they could, so they didn't take the money for getting up 100. It would just be what they thought that they could get away with, because the social aspect of it and like not taking all of the proctor's money was just as important to them as getting the money. The social standing was just as important.
So another example that they gave, they were talking about like the MIT honor system. So they gave students a piece of paper before they took the test that was basically saying like, I won't cheat during this exam. And they figured out that everyone who signed that sheet didn't cheat at all. And then the other students who didn't sign it or didn't see the piece of paper, there was like an 84% like that they cheated or something like that. So it just kind of shows that if it's on paper and they read it, then students were more likely to like not cheat. But if they don't see it or I don't know, disregard it, then they're not gonna cheat.
I think that goes hand in hand with the like social contract thing of like not taking all the money. It's like more of the way you look to other people than actually.
Okay, chapter 11. Chapter 12, the context of our character, part 2.
So this chapter focuses on how people are willing to be more dishonest the farther away from money their dishonesty is. So for example, it would be like taking a Coke out of the fridge where you work versus taking like money off the table in the break room. People are more willing to do it when it's not directly involving money because they don't feel as bad, like they're not cheating someone as much.
Yeah, so an example that I've had with that is this past summer I worked at a golf course, and a lot of times people would leave like a purse or a wallet or whatever. And so when we'd go around and like clean the tables and whatnot at the golf course, we would just pick those up and bring them to the back, and we'd, just keep them there until someone called us if they were missing something at all. And then also like my mom one time, like she dropped her credit card somewhere, and like it was very satisfying because someone had called saying that they had found it, whereas like instead of like taking it and actually using it, it kind of seems like people, when it comes to money, they're less likely to like take it, and they just, I don't know, they feel like they can't because it's in the form of money.
Alright, chapter 12. Alright, chapter 13, beer and free lunches.
So the example that they gave was like people at a restaurant, they go to order beer, and the people who made their like orders out loud were not as happy with their choice, whereas like people who made it in private were happy with what they had chosen. It just kind of shows that like they're affected by like the social surroundings, I guess, because when they hear that other people are getting a particular beer, they don't want to be like that person, so they want to be their own individual, and they don't want it to seem like they're ordering the same beer because someone else got it. And I mean, I guess I can kind of relate to that a little bit when I go to like restaurants, because you don't necessarily want to order the same thing someone else does because you want to be your own person. I don't know.
I get that, but also at the same time, like, my mom and I will go to lunch or something, and we're like, oh my gosh, everything looks good on the menu. So like, she'll get something and I'll get something, and then we'll split it. So then it's like we're kind of doing the same thing because we're eating half of it, but not really. So I can kind of see how that makes sense. Or like where you want to get something different every time you go to a restaurant because you don't want to you want to experience something. And then the chapter ends out with 2 main points that we should take away from this book. The first one being, I'm going to read it right out of the book. We are pawns in a game whose forces we largely fail to comprehend. So that basically just means that in our everyday lives, we don't really realize how much we're being influenced for our choices. We think it's all up to us, but in actuality, there's like a lot of external things that are contributing to it. And then the second main lesson is that although irrationality is commonplace, it does not necessarily mean that we are helpless. So I took that as meaning like reading this book, we've seen how outside influences are affecting us, and we can recognize them now and maybe use that to not let them influence us as much as they did before.
It just kind of gave like a different outlook on how minds work, and by like social norms it affects like the way we think, I guess. Yeah.
And that's predictably irrational.
Chapter 13.
Oh no. It's you! You're saying the intro!
Oh, I
Chapter 11!
I already did No, we won't stop!
So, this chapter focuses more on how people are willing to be dishonest. Oh no.
Sorry.
Okay, let's start. I'll start with my part.